Yay Networks.
Welcome to a very, very special bonus episode of A Sandwich and Some Lovin', the podcast that I, Kellie Raspberry Evans, I have to go by Evans when I do the podcast, typically do with my husband, Alan Evans. But I gave Alan a day off just because I wanted to have some one-on-one girl time with my special guest for this first bonus episode. Now, for all intents and purposes, I guess is the right way I'm trying to say it, Sheena Fannin should not be here today, but she is, and she's got a great story to tell. She is a wife, she is a mom, she is a heart disease survivor, and that's why I really wanted to have her on this special podcast here on February 4th, which is National Wear Red Day for the American Heart Association. Please welcome Sheena Fannin.
Thank you. Thank you, Kellie.
Thank you for being here. Wearing red.
Wearing red,
no
always.
Coincidence. I got to put mine on after the podcast immediately. The National Wear Red Day is a big deal for the American Heart Association, which you have become very familiar with over the past, 2 years?
Not even. Less than a year and a half.
So, like I said, and I don't think I was, I think I was being very truthful when I said, you shouldn't be here today. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't be alive today.
No.
But by divine intervention, modern medicine, and then the people that have donated so much to the American Heart Association over the years, you are here to tell your story. Yes. So why don't we just dive into that day where your life literally changed forever?
Yeah, definitely. This was October 2020. And I, leading up to this day, was feeling kind of off. Really just lightheaded, having a hard time catching my breath. I knew something was wrong. I was in the process of trying to figure out what that was. Never once did I think it had anything to do with my heart.
Right. Because a lot of us get that fatigued feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Anxiety, especially, you're talking 2020.
Exactly.
With everything going on with the pandemic, you could have thought this just could be anxiety, stress, something like that, right?
Yes, definitely. I've got 2 boys at home. We're always busy. Yes, the pandemic had just started and we were in the midst of all of that. So in my gut, though, I knew something was pretty wrong. That day, though, that I actually collapsed in my kitchen was the day that I knew something is terribly wrong. So, I'd been feeling all of these symptoms and, like I said, was in the process of trying to figure it out. And one day we were just having a normal day. My husband was out of town. I had just come home from taking the boys to soccer practice, got them ready for bed, kissed them goodnight, came downstairs, and I was feeling all these symptoms again, but they were stronger.
And the symptoms were what?
So lightheaded. I was feeling a lot of palpitations, dizzy. And so in that moment, all those symptoms were so much stronger than I had been feeling the past few days.
And those are associated with panic attacks.
They are. And so in my mind, I kind of could anticipate, okay, something is about to happen.
Right.
So I held on to the kitchen counter, and the next thing I knew, I collapsed on the kitchen floor. I don't know how long I was out for, and miraculously, I woke back up without any medical intervention, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Definitely amazing.
And your kids didn't find you that way.
And they didn't see me that way, which
that's a blessing.
That is. I'm so thankful for that. They did not see any of that. So I did go to the emergency room that night and tests were run. They all came back normal. And so they thought, okay, well, possibly anxiety and stress, but to be safe, follow up with a cardiologist. And I did just a couple days later and was told the same thing by the cardiologist. You are young, healthy, active. This is probably anxiety and stress.
Right.
And follow up if the symptoms continue.
Now, at that point, did they run any tests on you, or they just listened to your symptoms and they said it sounded like a panic or anxiety attack?
They didn't run any tests on me.
Not the cardiologist.
Not the cardiologist. No, he just listened to my symptoms, listened to my heart. And, Kellie, I think when you look at me, you don't see someone that could possibly be at risk for cardiovascular disease.
You have a history in your family?
I don't.
And you're young and active and fit. I mean, you don't display any of the typical signs, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. And so I think it's easy to attribute those symptoms to anything else.
Right.
But like I said, I knew in my gut something was wrong. A healthy 38-year-old doesn't just collapse in her kitchen for no reason. So I went ahead and scheduled my third doctor's appointment with another cardiologist.
See, this is very important. You didn't just take that and like, oh, well, let me go back. You knew instinctively something's not right.
Yes, I felt like I needed to take control of it.
Keep going, yeah.
And just be proactive about finding out what was going on. So this third doctor fit me in right away and put a heart monitor on me that day. And I always say that that was my saving grace because it picked up episodes of ventricular tachycardia, which can be a deadly and very dangerous heart rhythm. So that was picked up within just a few days.
Wow.
And I remember the phone call from him when they were picking up these episodes of VTAC. I was in the carpool line to get the boys from school, and he called me, and I remember him saying, "Sheena, what are you doing right now?" And I was like, I'm sitting in the carpool line and I'm about to get my kids. What's going on?
Were you playing Best Fiends? That's what I do in carpool line.
I was probably on my phone doing something. But I was still feeling these symptoms too. So I knew something was wrong, but when he was telling me, Sheena, you need to go to the emergency room right now.
Oh,
I remember thinking, why?
I don't have time for that.
Yeah, I don't have time. I'm in the carpool line. I'm about to get my kids in 5 minutes. Let me get them. I'll take them home and then I'll go to the hospital. And he said, you don't have time for that.
Wow.
He said, you have to go now. And so again, I'm still thinking, okay, I'll go because he's telling me to, but there's nothing wrong with my heart.
Right.
So what I thought was going to be maybe a 2-hour hospital stay led to a 5-day hospital stay.
Oh, wow.
And again, I didn't take a change of clothes. I took nothing because I thought,
in and out.
Yeah, in and out. They're wrong. I don't know what VTAC is. I don't understand what he's saying.
Never heard the words before.
No. And I'm healthy. This isn't happening to me. But it was. And I'm so thankful that I had that heart monitor on that day because I wouldn't be here today even without that.
So when you went in to the hospital, did they immediately take you to surgery? What did they do when you went to the hospital?
Yeah, no, they ran tests for the first 3 days, pretty extensive tests on my heart. And so they were just trying to figure out, why is this happening to her? Because again, I don't look like somebody who suffers from cardiovascular disease. And what they were seeing my heart do was something they said they haven't really seen often.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, after all the testing, it was concluded that I'm high risk for sudden cardiac death. And I'm really lucky I woke up that day. I collapsed on the kitchen floor.
Yes, you are. So you did not, when you collapsed, you didn't experience a heart attack in that moment.
I didn't. So it was an increase of my heart rate and not enough blood was going to my brain.
Okay. And so that just sent you to the floor.
It did.
But the next time you might not have been so lucky.
Yes.
Because even if you fall, when you pass out, you could have hit your head.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many ways you could, have died.
Yes, so many ways. Thank goodness I wasn't driving that day.
Yeah.
I didn't have my boys with me. Everything kind of happened the way that it needed to. And I ended up in the best care possible.
So after 3 days of tests, then you had to have surgery because you said you were in the hospital for a total of 5 days.
Right. Yes. Then they concluded that I'm high risk for sudden cardiac death. And they said to protect my heart, they would surgically implant an ICD, which is a defibrillator and a pacemaker. It's kind of like a 2-in-1 inside my body to protect my heart. So if this, God forbid, ever happen again, I will either be paced out of that rhythm or I will be shocked by the device.
And that's kind of scary because you're probably, I would think you'd be walking around for the first few months waiting to be shocked. Like that sense of anticipation. Like, is it going to be today? Is it going to be right now?
It was scary. It was really scary. It took me almost a year to really learn to trust the device.
Right.
And accept it as part of my body.
You feel it in you right now?
I do. I have a little bit of a smaller frame and the device is large and you can see it. So that's another thing that I had to kind of come to terms with too is, you're going to be able to see that when I wear a swimsuit or when I wear a tank top, and my kids see it too. And I don't want it to ever scare them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was something that I had to kind of learn to accept. So I had the surgery for that device, and then they put me on medication to try to stabilize my heart too. So thankfully, over the last year, the device has not shocked me. So that is a big positive. But I have gone into VTAC 12 times.
And what does that feel like now? You feel your heart just starting to race again?
I do. I feel my heart starting to race, and I feel a little lightheaded when it happens. So
what do you do?
Know they told me that I need to sit down, basically stop what I'm doing and sit down in case I end up collapsing again. If I am shocked, they said I will probably have already passed out. So I shouldn't feel the pain from that.
Right. Because I had a friend that was on a heart transplant list and had that and was shocked one time. And he said that didn't feel too good.
It doesn't feel good.
Doesn't feel good, no.
It doesn't. That's what I've heard. But over the last year, kind of like you said, every time that my heart does go into VTAC, I'm scared.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, okay, am I preparing myself for a shock, or am I preparing myself for my heart reversing itself on its own? So that's scary. And that's not a feeling I don't think I'll ever get used to. But it is my reality. And so, I think back on that day, my surgery day.
Yeah.
And Michael's my husband. He was in the room with me before I was wheeled away into surgery. And, we had just had this conversation with the doctor telling us that I'm high risk for sudden cardiac death. And he and I said nothing to each other. We couldn't even really make eye contact with each other because I went from being completely healthy one day to our lives being turned upside down the very next day.
And we all see those shows, those medical shows on TV where it's like the strings, the violins are playing, they're holding each other's hands, they say these beautiful things to each other. But reality was you were shocked, speechless.
We were shocked. It was
speechless in that moment.
And almost like a chilling silence.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine.
Because it's like, I'm getting wheeled into surgery. Do we want to...
This isn't happening.
I know.
How is this happening?
I didn't believe it. I still did not believe it.
And he couldn't either. And I know as a husband, my husband, they want to feel like they could protect you and should be able to fix this. Why can't I fix this? So he's helpless.
Right. Yes.
Gosh.
And I remember being wheeled away. And of course we said, we hugged and said everything was going to be fine. We really did believe that I would be fine. But I look at being wheeled away from him and that room into surgery as being wheeled away from the life that I knew and the Sheena that I knew, because everything changed in that moment.
Yeah.
Everything. But over the last year, I have turned that fear. I've tried to turn that fear into hope and spreading awareness. And if I hadn't listened to all those signals that my body was giving me, I really wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, because that emergency room visit, you did the right thing by going, and they just sent you home and said, follow up with your heart doctor. A lot of women would have stopped at that and would have never called that first heart doctor, which you did. Also patted you on the head and said it's fine, but and a lot of women would have stopped there.
Yeah.
So the fact that you just kept following through, you've got to listen to that little voice in your gut.
You have to.
You have to. I always say, I believe that's the Holy Spirit. I think that inner voice is the Holy Spirit speaking to you.
Yes.
So,
and we take any little thing that happens to our kids, we schedule those appointments and we make sure that we don't stop until we have answers.
Yeah.
And I really encourage people to do the same for themselves.
Especially women.
Yes.
Because, like you said, I don't have time. I am in carpool line. What do you mean? You want me to leave right now? I got to call somebody to get my kids. I've got this soccer practice and all the scheduling that goes on.
Things. Yes, all the things. And so, being proactive about taking charge of your health is so important, and listening to those signals and doing something about it. And finding a doctor that's going to properly assess what your symptoms are.
Yeah.
Because I think it's so easy to say as a woman, you're stressed and it's anxiety, because you know what? We all are stressed.
Yeah. And a lot of the times that is the case.
Yes. Yes.
But you can't be too careful, as you are evidence of that.
Definitely.
But you have turned it into something positive. So it's been, okay, you said October of 2020.
October 2020.
So we're a year and a half or so in, right? I'm
Yep.
very bad at math.
Oh, yeah, a little less
Terrible
than a
at
year
math.
and a half.
A
Yeah.
little less than a year and a half. But now you have taken that fear, like you said, you're channeling it into something positive, and you're actually on National Wear Red Day launching a campaign.
I am. I'm so excited. So through my advocacy and just the need to spread awareness that I feel, I was nominated as a woman of impact for the American Heart Association and the Go Red for Women movement.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, being so open about my journey and sharing it with everyone has really helped me heal. Before this, I didn't realize cardiovascular disease was the number one killer of women.
It's the number one killer of women. I think a lot of people are under the impression that it's breast cancer. I don't know why that's the concept. Maybe it's, honestly, I'm not saying it flippant. I think it's a marketing issue.
Yes.
It's a marketing issue.
It is.
The pink ribbons, the pink,
Yes.
and I think that's a really big thing. And the commercials they're beautiful, but I think that's given the impression that breast cancer is the number one. Get in for your mammograms and things like
Yes.
that. But I think when it comes to, and I love the American Heart Association, I work with them, but it's like, what do you do? Because, it's one thing to schedule an annual mammogram. You got to do it. It's on the calendar. Do it around your birthday. Do it around Christmas. It's there. But what do you do to remind yourself to take care of your heart every year? What's the thing you can do?
Well, I'm definitely taking care of your body. So eat the right foods, definitely exercise, and get an EKG. When you turn, I would say 40, 45, maybe even earlier.
Even if you don't have
I would.
symptoms,
Yes.
just to be on the safe side, to get a baseline, maybe,
I would
right?
get a baseline, yes. So I think that when men turn 50, it's part of their physical that they get an EKG. It is not the same for women.
Oh, I didn't know that. My husband just turned 50.
Yes.
And when I turned 50, I didn't have to do that. What did I have to do at 50? They just made me do like the bone density test or something. That was like new.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I remember having to do that was different. Oh, and the colonoscopies.
Yes.
That's the two things. But I
Yes.
don't think none of my doctors said anything about my heart health.
Yeah.
None of them.
No, and I think as women, we need to just be proactive about it and get our heart checked.
Especially when now we're telling you it's the number one killer of women.
Yes.
Because you dismiss the symptoms. You dismiss
Yes.
it.
And the symptoms are so similar to stress and anxiety. I had
Yeah.
2 doctors tell me that that's what it was in my situation, and clearly it wasn't.
Yeah.
So yes, definitely get those EKGs.
Yeah, I will ask about that because I'm going to be 55 this year. And it's like, and I remember my mother, she's in her, how old was my mother? She's in her early 70s still. And she said she had to go, is that when you get on the treadmill and you just get your heart rate up as high as possible and then they check you? Is that part of the stress test or
That's
something
the
they
stress
do?
test.
That's
Yes.
different than what you're
That's
suggesting.
different than an EKG. So an EKG really is like a snapshot of maybe 20 seconds or 30 seconds, but at least it kind of does give you a baseline. But really it's also listening to your body, because a lot of times our bodies do give us little signals and clues that something's wrong. And so listen to it and remember that it could be your heart. We don't think about it often being
Right.
our heart, but it could be. It's not always stress and anxiety.
Yeah. Well, even like Sheena's saying, even if you don't express symptoms, maybe just getting a baseline when you hit a milestone birthday.
Definitely.
It's a gift to yourself.
Yes.
So what is the campaign you're kicking off today for 8 weeks, right? It's a fundraising
Yes.
campaign?
Yes, it's a fundraising campaign, and I will be spreading awareness over the next 8 weeks and also raising funds for my campaign. And so I'm really, really excited about this. We've got a few things in motion over the next 8 weeks that are going to come out. And I know that we here locally can just make such a big impact.
Well, the Dallas area, I know we're syndicated, or not our syndicated, our podcast goes all over the world, but I know that the Dallas chapter of the American Heart Association is one of the biggest
Yes.
that they have, and they do these great fundraisers, but because of the pandemic a couple years ago, they've had to rethink how they do the fundraising. And so a campaign like yours is one of the main ways they're going to be able to reach the dollar figures that they need.
Yes. And the way I look at it is, if another 38-year-old goes into the hospital with the same symptoms that I had with these funds that we're raising, what if her outcome is different than mine? What if her choices are different and she has more choices than I did? And I mentioned this to you, Kellie, when we spoke last week. I already know that I have to have this surgery every 6 to 7 years for the rest of my life. Well, what if next time I go in for this surgery, my options are different because of these funds we've raised?
Yeah, maybe you can wait 20 years.
Yes, or maybe the device will be smaller. Who knows? I think the possibilities are endless. So I'm
think
so
how far they've
excited.
come. If this would have happened to a woman even 20 years ago, she might just not have these options that you have today.
No,
so the money being raised is being put to very good use with the American Heart Association. I love what they do, and I love being involved, and I love sharing Sheena's story. I was asked to interview you for when it was during the COVID. They were trying to get the message out there because they couldn't do the campaign, and that's when we met last year.
Yes.
And you were talking at the time about wanting to do something, but you weren't quite sure what it was. I think you were thinking about doing a 5K or something, was it?
Yes. I had so many ideas.
Oh, yeah. She was trying to get me to do it. I'm like, well, I will if you really want me to. But yeah.
We could walk together. I wouldn't run it either. We'll walk it.
I did a couple of 5Ks. I've always thought runners just sound sexy.
Yeah.
I just got back from running 10 miles or whatever. I'm like, oh, you're so sexy. And so I committed. And I trained for a 5K. And I was like, at some point, I'm going to get that runner's high and I'm going to love it. I never did.
No, that's okay.
Never did. But I'll walk a 5K for you.
I will walk it with you.
We put that on the shelf for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we will. We've got time to train for that.
Let's get up for that. But I can help you with this 8-week campaign. So what are you asking people to do as part of this 8-week campaign?
Well, I've got a website that we will share with everyone. And so I would love everyone to visit the website. There's some information about my story on there and the American Heart Association, and to make a donation. No matter how small or big, really every dollar counts. And I would be so grateful for you guys to take the time to do that.
Absolutely. And I will link to the website. Do you have the website information with you now? You don't have it right now. Okay, so I will link the information to the website that Sheena is talking about in the show notes of the podcast. I'm going to post the link on our social media. We have a Sandwich and Some Lovin' on Facebook. We also have the account on Instagram. And I will even put it on my personal so you can know where to go to get to Sheena's website. Got to get that set up and launched because, hey, it's National Rare. That's hard to say.
It is.
National Wear Red Day. Get the men in your life to do it too, because our men are hopefully our biggest champions in this fight. I think heart attacks typically think of men having them. I don't know if it's the number one killer of men or not. I don't know.
I think it is.
It is. So heart disease across the board. So not just for women, it's for men too. So everybody put on your red today. Go to Sheena's website. I'm going to have the link for you there. And let's raise as much money as we can for the American Heart Association. Sheena, is there anything, I know a lot of people say, why me? You could have gone the other way. You could be living, just depressed, angry at God. And maybe you went through some of those times where you were angry and depressed. You don't seem to be that way to me now. And maybe you're putting on a very good mask. How do you feel now that this happened to you, and why you?
Yeah. I did have all those questions at the beginning, and it took me a lot of work to pull myself out of that. But I also remind myself that I'm raising 2 boys that when they think of their childhood, I don't want them to think, okay, my mom had to be really strong. She was dealing with this health issue and she fought every day for her life. That's not what I want them to remember. I want them to remember how much fun they had growing up and how many memories we created. I don't ever want this diagnosis to define me and for it to be what they remember about their mom. So that in itself gives me so much hope and courage. And my relationship with God did change because, I was angry at the beginning and I did ask all those questions, why me? But I truly do believe everything happens for a reason. And I think I was picked for this to happen to me. for everyone to see the good that can come out of it too. And for people also to realize, and for me to realize, that things like this don't define you. It's a part of me, and it only makes me stronger. I meditate every day, and that has really helped me come to a place of acceptance. But really, it's those boys of mine. They give me hope and courage and the desire to keep going and to find the silver lining, even in a situation like this.
Well, I think it was meant for us to meet.
Yes.
So I could help you share your story. And, we are pre-recording this. This is going to come out on February 4th because it is National Wear Red Day. But between now and then, I will have Sheena's website information. As I said, I'll have the link to it in the show notes and on all the social media for myself and for A Sandwich and Some Lovin'. And Sheena, where can people find you? You don't know yet because you don't have the website set up yet.
Yeah, I will definitely have the link to you. And
just go there. It's for all thing. And if you want to be a part, and I know a lot of people are doing their own fundraisers for the American Heart Association. So if you ever want to get involved, just go to their website.
Yes.
Very easy to find. Just, DuckDuckGo it, American Heart Association. And you can find out how you can become a volunteer, how you can raise funds, and you can get more information about symptoms and heart healthy choices you can make in your life to avoid a situation. And hopefully we'll be saving lives just with this one podcast. You never know, Sheena.
I know. Make those doctor's appointments. Listen to your body.
Yeah, and get that EKG. I need to do that. Like I said, it's not something that the colonoscopy check, the bone density check. Nobody asked me about my heart. And until you said that, I was like, wait.
Yes.
I never even thought about that.
I know. I didn't either before all of this. I know.
Yeah. Don't wait until it's too late, because for a lot of us, it could have been too late.
Yes.
All right, Sheena Fannin, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful, successful 8-week campaign.
Thank you.
Keep us posted with how it's going, and let me know when you want to do the 5K.
I will.
Do it if you really want me to. I'll be a part of it. Sheena Fannin, thank you so much. And thank you, everybody in our podcast family, for joining me for the first of what I hope is many special little bonus episodes of the A Sandwich and Some Lovin' podcast. Of course, Alan and I will be back at our regularly scheduled time next week, so we'll see you then. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.